You're sabotaging every single manifestation by chasing what you want instead of becoming who you need to be. And this mistake is costing you years of your life. Right now, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because what I'm about to reveal goes against everything the law of attraction industry has been selling you. And you need to hear this before you waste another month visualizing a life that'll never come. Here's the brutal truth nobody's telling you. Every morning you wake up, look in the mirror, and tell yourself affirmations about wealth, love, and success. But your bank account stays empty, your relationships stay broken, and your dreams stay distant. You're doing everything the gurus recommend. Vision boards plastered on your wall, gratitude journals filled with pretty words, meditation apps draining your phone battery, yet nothing changes. The reason is devastatingly simple. You're trying to attract what you want, but the universe doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your actual vibration, your real identity, the person you truly are when nobody's watching. Subscribe now, because this revelation is going to shatter everything you thought you knew about manifestation. And I'm going to show you the exact method to transform your identity so you become a magnet for what you desire. Let me tell you about Sarah, a coaching client who came to me after spending 3 years doing manifestation rituals every single day. She had vision boards for her dream house, affirmations for financial abundance, and a meditation practice that would make any guru proud. She wanted a 6-figure income, a loving relationship, and the freedom to travel the world. But here's what actually happened. She stayed stuck in the same low-paying job, attracted the same emotionally unavailable partners, and spent her weekends scrolling through other people's travel photos on Instagram. When I asked her one simple question, everything changed. I said, "Who are you being right now? Not what do you want, but who are you?" She went silent because she realized something terrifying. She was being a person who struggled with money, who settled for breadcrumbs in relationships, who played small and safe. And what I discovered analyzing hundreds of cases like hers is going to shock you, because the law of attraction doesn't work the way you've been taught. After documenting over 300 manifestation failures and analyzing the patterns behind every single one, I found the hidden truth that the industry doesn't want you to know. The people who succeed aren't better at visualizing or more consistent with affirmations. They've mastered something completely different. And in the next minutes, you're going to learn exactly what that is and how to apply it starting today. Everything you've been taught about manifestation is backwards, and this might be the most important thing you hear all year. The law of attraction community obsesses over desire, teaching you to focus intensely on what you want, to feel the emotions of having it, to act as if it's already yours. But here's the shocking reality that quantum physics and neuroscience both confirm. Your vibration isn't determined by what you want or even what you visualize. It's determined by who you fundamentally believe you are at your core. James Allen wrote in, "As a man thinketh, that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are." And this single distinction separates people who manifest consistently from those who stay stuck in the manifestation hamster wheel forever. Think about it this way. You can spend hours every day visualizing yourself as a millionaire, but if deep down you identify as someone who's bad with money, someone who always struggles financially, someone from a family that never had wealth, then your subconscious identity broadcasts a poverty frequency 24/7. The universe doesn't hear your 20-minute morning visualization. It hears the other 23 hours and 40 minutes of self-concept programming running in the background of your mind. Research from Dr. Bruce Lipton's work on epigenetics shows that 95% of our life comes from subconscious programming, which means your conscious desires are only 5% of the signal you're sending out. A study from the National Science Foundation found that we have about 70,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of those are negative and 95% are repetitive. So while you're consciously affirming abundance for 10 minutes, you're unconsciously affirming scarcity for the remaining 1,430 minutes of your waking day. Before anyone figured this out, they stayed trapped in cycles of temporary success followed by inevitable collapse. They'd manifest money, then immediately lose it. They'd attract a great relationship, then sabotage it. They'd get opportunities, then mysteriously talk themselves out of taking action. After applying the identity shift method, everything changed. One client went from $40,000 a year to $180,000 in 8 months, not because he visualized more money, but because he became someone for whom that income was natural and inevitable. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Your current identity isn't who you really are. It's just a collection of beliefs, stories, and patterns you've been running on autopilot since childhood. Most people inherit their identity from their parents, their culture, their past failures and traumas. You're walking around thinking you're being yourself, but you're actually being a programmed response system based on conditioning that has nothing to do with your true potential. The moment you realize your identity is flexible, not fixed, is the moment you gain access to levels of manifestation power you didn't know existed. But wait, if identity is so important, why does traditional law of attraction teaching ignore it completely and focus only on desire and visualization? Your emotional state isn't just a feeling. It's a broadcast signal that determines what shows up in your physical reality, and most people are transmitting the exact opposite of what they think they are. You wake up, you feel anxious about money, you worry about your relationship, you stress about your career, you scroll through social media comparing yourself to others, you go to bed disappointed that nothing changed. That's not just a bad day, that's a vibrational signature that magnetically attracts more situations that make you feel anxious, worried, stressed, and disappointed. Neville Goddard spent decades teaching that feeling is the secret, but everyone misunderstood what he meant. He wasn't talking about feeling happy for 10 minutes during visualization. He was talking about the predominant emotional state you embody throughout your entire day, the feeling tone of who you are being. Here's what the scientific research reveals that'll blow your mind. The HeartMath Institute has measured the electromagnetic field of the human heart and found it extends up to 10 feet outside your body. And this field changes based on your emotional state. When you're in elevated emotions like gratitude, love, joy, and peace, your heart generates a coherent electromagnetic pattern that literally affects the people and circumstances around you. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research using brain scans shows that when you sustain elevated emotions for just 15-20 minutes, you start altering gene expression and changing your biology to match the person you're becoming. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people unconsciously mimic the emotional states of those around them within milliseconds, which means your frequency is constantly influencing your environment. Before someone understands this, they live in reactive mode, letting external circumstances dictate their internal state. Bad news comes, and they feel terrible. Good news comes, and they feel great. They're emotional ping-pong balls getting bounced around by life, and then they wonder why they can't manifest stability and success. After implementing frequency management techniques, the game completely changes. One woman I worked with was drowning in $80,000 of debt, constantly anxious, relationship falling apart, health declining. She didn't do a single new manifestation technique. She just committed to embodying the emotional frequency of the person she wanted to become, spending 30 minutes every morning in elevated emotions before she even checked her phone. Within 6 months, she received an unexpected inheritance that cleared her debt. Her relationship transformed into the healthiest it had ever been, and her chronic health issues started resolving. The external circumstances shifted because her internal frequency shifted first. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You can't fake frequency. Your subconscious knows when you're pretending, and the universe knows when you're pretending. If you're doing gratitude lists while secretly resenting your life, you're not broadcasting gratitude. You're broadcasting resentment wrapped in spiritual bypass. If you're affirming confidence while internally feeling like a fraud, you're not manifesting confidence, you're manifesting more situations that make you feel like a fraud. The only way to change your frequency is to genuinely become a different person at the identity level, which is exactly what we're going to dive into next. But wait, if frequency is so powerful, why do some people seem to manifest despite being in terrible emotional states? Your self-concept is the lens through which you interpret every single experience in your life, and it's filtering out 99% of opportunities that don't match your identity. This is the most overlooked aspect of manifestation because everyone focuses on attracting new things while ignoring the fact that you can't receive what you don't believe you deserve. Your self-concept acts like a thermostat. When your life gets too good, beyond what your identity can handle, you unconsciously self-sabotage to bring it back down to your comfort zone. When your life gets too bad, below your minimum standard, you take action to improve it back up to baseline. This is why lottery winners statistically go broke within a few years. They receive millions of dollars, but their self-concept still identifies as a person who struggles with money. So they unconsciously create circumstances to match their internal identity. The groundbreaking research here comes from the field of psycho-cybernetics, pioneered by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who noticed that plastic surgery patients would sometimes maintain their old self-image even after their physical appearance changed dramatically. He realized that success and failure are not determined by external conditions, but by the self-image that acts as a blueprint for how life unfolds. A study from the University of California found that people with low self-worth actually feel uncomfortable when they receive compliments or positive feedback because it conflicts with their self-concept. So their brain dismisses or distorts the positive information to maintain consistency with their identity. Neuroscientist Dr. Tara Swart explains that your reticular activating system in your brain filters information based on what you believe is relevant and possible for you. Which means if you don't see yourself as wealthy, your brain literally filters out wealth opportunities that are right in front of you. Before people work on self-concept, they experience a bizarre pattern where good things start happening, but then mysteriously evaporate. They get the job interview, but bomb it. They attract a great partner, but push them away. They make money, but then immediately have an unexpected expense that wipes it out. It's not bad luck or the universe testing them. It's their self-concept saying, "This doesn't match who I am, so I'm going to restore equilibrium." After upgrading their self-concept to match their desires, everything becomes effortless. A man I coached identified as someone who always struggled in relationships, someone whose father abandoned him, someone who couldn't trust women. When he shifted his self-concept to, "I am someone who is deeply loved," someone who attracts healthy relationships, someone who is a safe partner, he didn't have to chase or convince anyone. Within weeks, he met someone who treated him better than anyone ever had. And the relationship unfolded naturally because it matched his new identity. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Your current self-concept was installed without your permission. Your parents told you who you were, your teachers told you what you were capable of, your early relationships showed you what you deserved, and your failures convinced you of your limitations. You've been walking through life with someone else's programming determining what you can attract and achieve. The beautiful truth is that self-concept is 100% malleable. You can rewrite it anytime you choose, and the moment you do, your entire reality reorganizes to reflect the new you. But wait, if self-concept can be changed, why do most people stay stuck with the same limiting identity their entire lives? Your subconscious mind controls 95% of your manifestation power, and it's currently running programs that directly contradict what you consciously want. This is the invisible saboteur that destroys every manifestation attempt because you can't override decades of subconscious conditioning with a few affirmations. Think of your mind like a computer. Your conscious mind is the user interface where you input commands like I want wealth, I want love, I want success. But your subconscious mind is the operating system running in the background. And if that operating system has programs like money is hard to make, relationships always hurt me, I'm not good enough for success, then those programs override your conscious commands every single time. You can type new instructions all day long, but the computer executes the background programs. Here's where the research gets absolutely fascinating. Dr. Bruce Lipton's work in The Biology of Belief demonstrates that your subconscious mind records everything from conception through age 7 like a sponge, with no critical filter. Whatever you observed, experienced, and heard during those formative years became your default programming. If you grew up watching your parents fight about money, you downloaded the program that relationships and finances are sources of stress. If you were told you weren't smart enough or talented enough, you downloaded the program that you have to work twice as hard for half the results. A Stanford University study found that 70% of our self-talk is negative and self-critical, which means your subconscious is getting bombarded with self-sabotaging messages all day long. The challenge is that your subconscious doesn't speak the language of logic and reason. It speaks the language of emotion, repetition, and imagery, which is why affirmations alone rarely work. Before anyone identifies and reprograms their subconscious blocks, they experience what I call the manifestation push-pull. They consciously move toward their goals, while their subconscious pulls them back to their comfort zone. It's like driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, wondering why you're not moving forward. After clearing subconscious resistance and installing new programs, manifestation becomes automatic. A woman came to me who consciously wanted a thriving business but kept sabotaging every opportunity. We uncovered a subconscious belief installed by her mother that successful women are selfish and bad mothers. The moment we reprogrammed that belief, she scaled her business to multiple six figures in less than a year, because there was no longer internal conflict between what she wanted and what she subconsciously believed was safe. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Most manifestation techniques completely ignore the subconscious, which is why they fail. Vision boards, affirmations, scripting, all of these work at the conscious level. But if your subconscious isn't aligned, you're fighting a losing battle. The real work happens when you go into the basement of your mind and clean out the old programs that no longer serve you. There are specific techniques to access and reprogram the subconscious that we'll cover. But first, you need to understand that awareness is the first step. You can't change what you're not aware of, and most people are completely unconscious of the limiting programs running their lives. But wait, if the subconscious is so powerful, why don't we have direct access to see and change these programs easily? Manifestation isn't about getting, it's about becoming. And this shift in perspective changes everything about how you approach creating your reality. Every time you focus on what you don't have, you reinforce the identity of someone who lacks. Every time you chase after desires from a place of need, you broadcast the frequency of scarcity. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. And the moment you become the person who already has what you desire, the physical manifestation becomes inevitable. This is what Neville Goddard meant when he said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled." He wasn't talking about pretending or visualizing for a few minutes. He was talking about a complete identity transformation where you genuinely become the person living that reality. The science behind this is rooted in quantum physics and the observer effect, which shows that the act of observation collapses infinite possibilities into one specific outcome. When you observe reality from the perspective of someone who lacks money, you collapse possibilities that reflect lack. When you observe reality from the perspective of someone who is abundant, you collapse possibilities that reflect abundance. Dr. Joe Dispenza explains this beautifully when he teaches that you can't create a new future while emotionally living in the past. If you wake up every morning and think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and take the same actions, you're going to create the same life. The only way to create something new is to become someone new. Research from the field of neuroplasticity shows that your brain can't tell the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you mentally rehearse being a confident, successful, loved version of yourself with enough emotional intensity and repetition, your brain starts wiring new neural pathways as if that's your actual lived experience. Before someone understands the becoming process, they remain trapped in the gap between who they are and who they want to be, constantly frustrated by the distance. They look at their current circumstances as evidence that they're not there yet, which reinforces the identity of someone who's not there yet, which creates more circumstances of not being there yet. It's a vicious cycle. After embracing the becoming process and living as the person they're becoming right now, the gap collapses. A client of mine desperately wanted to become a successful author, but kept identifying as an aspiring writer who wasn't good enough yet. The moment he shifted to, "I am an author who creates transformative books," he started showing up differently. He wrote with more confidence, he pitched his work without apologizing, he invested in himself like a successful author would. Within 8 months, he had a book deal with a major publisher, not because he got lucky, but because he became someone for whom that was a natural outcome. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You don't have to wait until you have the money to be wealthy. You don't have to wait until you meet the person to feel loved. You don't have to wait until you achieve success to be confident. You can become that person right now, today, in this moment, and the external reality will rearrange itself to match who you're being. This isn't positive thinking or fake it till you make it. This is a genuine energetic and neurological transformation where you embody the identity, the emotions, the thoughts, and the behaviors of your desired self until there's no separation between who you are and who you're becoming. But wait, if we can just become anyone we want, why doesn't everyone do this and create their dream life? Every time you try to change your identity, your ego throws up massive resistance, and this is the invisible wall that stops 99% of people from transforming their reality. Your ego's job is to keep you safe, and safe means familiar, which means staying exactly who you've always been. When you start becoming someone new, your ego perceives this as a threat to your survival and activates defense mechanisms like self-doubt, fear, procrastination, and self-sabotage. This is why people can get inspired by a video like this, feel motivated to change, and then 3 days later find themselves back in their old patterns wondering what happened. The resistance pattern is a biological and psychological mechanism designed to maintain homeostasis. Neuroscience research shows that your brain has a negativity bias, meaning it's wired to focus on potential threats rather than potential rewards because, from an evolutionary perspective, missing a reward might disappoint you, but missing a threat could kill you. When you attempt identity transformation, your amygdala, the fear center of your brain, perceives this as dangerous because it's unfamiliar territory. A Yale University study found that 80% of people who set goals give up within the first 2 weeks because the discomfort of change triggers their survival mechanisms to pull them back to baseline. Your subconscious would rather keep you in familiar suffering than risk unfamiliar growth, because familiar feels safe, even when it's painful. Before understanding resistance, people interpret these blocks as signs that manifestation doesn't work for them, that they're not spiritual enough, that the universe is withholding their desires. They give up right at the breakthrough point, which is usually when resistance is strongest. After learning to recognize and move through resistance, they realize it's not a stop sign. It's a sign they're on the right path. Resistance only shows up when you're threatening the old identity, which means you're actually making progress. One of my clients experienced massive resistance when she started embodying her wealthy self. Suddenly, she had unexpected expenses, car trouble, family drama. Every possible distraction and obstacle appeared. She almost quit, thinking the universe was punishing her. But we identified it as resistance, and she pushed through. Within weeks, everything stabilized, and opportunities started flooding in because she'd crossed the threshold where the new identity became stronger than the old one. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Resistance is not your enemy. It's your indicator that transformation is happening. The intensity of your resistance is directly proportional to the magnitude of the identity shift you're attempting. Small changes trigger small resistance. Massive transformations trigger massive resistance. When you feel fear, doubt, and overwhelm, that's not a sign you're doing it wrong. That's confirmation you're doing it right. The key is to expect resistance, normalize it, and develop strategies to move through it rather than letting it stop you. But wait, if resistance is so predictable, why don't manifestation teachers warn people about it and prepare them for what's coming? Your brain is constantly filtering reality to show you evidence that confirms your existing beliefs. And this confirmation bias is the reason you keep manifesting the same patterns over and over. If you believe you're unlucky, your brain will highlight every unfortunate event while ignoring all the fortunate ones. If you believe relationships always fail, your brain will focus on every relationship problem while dismissing healthy relationship examples all around you. This isn't just psychology, it's neurology. Your reticular activating system acts like a search engine, scanning your environment for information that matches your internal programming and filtering out everything that doesn't match. The landmark research on this comes from cognitive psychology studies showing that once you form a belief, your brain literally cannot see evidence that contradicts it. The invisible gorilla experiment from Harvard demonstrated that when people are focused on one thing, they completely miss obvious events happening right in front of them. Even a person in a gorilla suit walking through the scene. If your focus is on lack, you'll miss abundance. If your focus is on problems, you'll miss solutions. If your focus is on what's wrong with you, you'll miss what's extraordinary about you. A study from Ohio State University found that people who believed they were bad at math performed significantly worse on math tests than people with equal ability who believed they were good at math, showing that belief literally affects performance and outcomes. Before people recognize their evidence filter, they think their circumstances are facts when they're actually just selective perception. They say, "I never have enough money," and point to their bank account as proof, not realizing they're filtering out the times money showed up unexpectedly, the bills that were lower than expected, the opportunities they didn't pursue because it didn't match their "I don't have money" story. After consciously directing their evidence filter toward what they want, their reality transforms. A man came to me convinced that nobody respected him at work. We started an evidence journal where he documented every single instance of respect he received, no matter how small. Within 2 weeks, his perception completely shifted because he realized respect was always there. He just wasn't seeing it. This shift in perception changed how he showed up. which created even more respect, which reinforced his new belief in a positive feedback loop. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You're not manifesting new circumstances. You're becoming aware of what was always available but invisible to your old identity. The opportunities, the abundance, the love, the success, it's all around you right now. But your evidence filter is screening it out because it doesn't match your current self-concept. The moment you shift your identity and intentionally direct your focus, you'll start seeing a completely different reality. Not because reality changed, but because you changed the lens through which you perceive it. But wait, if we're all just filtering reality based on beliefs, does that mean objective reality doesn't exist and everything is just perception? You can't think your way into a new identity. You have to act your way into it. And this is where most manifestation teachings completely fail, because they focus on mental work while ignoring behavioral transformation. Your identity isn't what you think or feel, it's what you consistently do. If you think of yourself as healthy but eat junk food every day, your actions reveal your true identity. If you tell yourself you're abundant but make every financial decision from scarcity, your behavior exposes the real belief system running your life. James Clear in Atomic Habits teaches that every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become, and this is profoundly true for manifestation. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating because your brain uses your behavior as evidence for your identity. When you act like a confident person, your brain starts believing you're confident. When you act like a wealthy person, your brain starts identifying you as wealthy. A study from the Journal of Applied Psychology found that simply adopting a confident posture for 2 minutes increased testosterone and decreased cortisol, creating hormonal changes that support confident behavior. The concept of embodied cognition shows that your physical state directly influences your mental and emotional state, which means you can change how you feel by changing how you move and act. Before people align their actions with their desired identity, they experience massive cognitive dissonance. They say they want success, but hit snooze 5 times every morning. They say they want love, but don't work on becoming loving. They say they want wealth, but spend every dollar they make. Their actions contradict their desires, and this internal conflict creates energetic static that blocks manifestation. After implementing action alignment, everything clicks into place. A woman wanted to become a successful entrepreneur, but kept acting like an employee, waiting for permission, avoiding risk, trading time for money. When she started taking action as an entrepreneur, making bold decisions, investing in herself, taking calculated risks, building assets, her business exploded because her behavior matched her identity. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You don't need massive action, you need aligned action. Small, consistent behaviors that match your desired identity are infinitely more powerful than sporadic bursts of motivated activity. If you want to be a writer, write 100 words every single day. If you want to be wealthy, make one financial decision today as your wealthy self would. If you want to be loved, do one loving act for yourself or others. These micro-actions send powerful signals to your subconscious that this is who I am now, and over time, your identity shifts to match your consistent behavior. Drop in the comments which action you're going to take today to align with your desired identity, because I want to see who's actually implementing this and who's just consuming information. Linear time is an illusion that keeps you trapped in the waiting game, and the moment you understand how to collapse timelines, you can manifest in days what used to take years. Most people approach manifestation with the belief that big changes take a long time, because that's what society programs into us. Want financial freedom? That'll take decades of saving. Want a transformed body? That'll take years of discipline. Want deep love? You gotta date dozens of people first. But quantum physics and countless real-world examples prove that transformation can happen instantaneously when the identity shift is complete. The only reason manifestations seem to take time is because you're holding an identity that requires time. The research here comes from quantum mechanics and the many worlds interpretation, which suggests that all possible timelines exist simultaneously, and your observation collapses one timeline into your experienced reality. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you change your energy, you change your timeline. Every time you make a different choice, think a different thought, feel a different emotion, you're literally jumping to a parallel timeline where that version of you is living a different reality. A study from MIT on decision-making found that people who make decisions from their desired future self rather than their current self achieve their goals 40% faster on average. Before people understand timeline collapse, they stay stuck in the story that change takes time. They think they have to slowly build wealth, gradually improve their relationships, incrementally develop their skills. This timeline perspective keeps them locked in slow manifestation because they're identifying with the person on the slow path. After learning to collapse timelines by making quantum leaps in identity, manifestations accelerate exponentially. A man I worked with wanted to leave his corporate job and travel the world, but he thought it would take 5 years to save enough money and build the courage. Through identity work, he collapsed that timeline to 4 months. He became the person who was already living that life, made radically different choices, and found himself on a beach in Thailand running his business remotely, wondering why he ever thought it had to take 5 years. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. The version of you that has everything you desire already exists right now in a parallel timeline. You're not creating that person, you're becoming that person by shifting your frequency, identity, and actions to match theirs. Time is just the gap between who you are now and who you're choosing to become. And that gap can be as long or as short as you decide. When you fully embody your desired identity without reservation or doubt, the timeline collapses and your reality snaps into alignment. But wait, if we can collapse timelines and manifest instantly, why doesn't this happen for everyone who learns about it? The harder you chase your manifestations, the further they run from you. And this is the cosmic joke that most people never understand until they finally let go. There's a paradox at the heart of manifestation that seems contradictory, but is actually the secret to everything. You have to desire deeply while simultaneously detaching completely. You have to know exactly what you want while being okay if it never comes. You have to take aligned action while surrendering the outcome. This isn't spiritual bypassing or giving up. It's understanding that attachment creates resistance, and resistance blocks flow. When you need something to happen, you're broadcasting the frequency of lack. When you can take it or leave it, you're broadcasting the frequency of abundance. Lao Tzu taught this 2,500 years ago in the Tao Te Ching when he said that the master does nothing, yet leaves nothing undone. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that you have a right to your actions, but not to the fruits of your actions. Every wisdom tradition points to this same truth, that desperate grasping repels while relaxed, allowing attracts. Neuroscience research on anxiety shows that when you're attached to an outcome, your body releases stress hormones that trigger fight or flight mode, which lowers your frequency and makes you take action from fear rather than inspiration. A Princeton study found that people perform significantly worse on tasks when they're anxious about the outcome versus when they're relaxed and playful. Before people learn to surrender, they suffocate their manifestations with neediness. They check their bank account obsessively. They stalk their ex on social media. They constantly ask, when is it coming? Why isn't it here yet? What am I doing wrong? This desperate energy pushes opportunities away and creates more waiting. After mastering the surrender paradox, everything flows effortlessly. They set clear intentions, take inspired action, and then release attachment to how and when it manifests. A woman desperately wanted to manifest her soulmate and spent years searching, dating, hoping, analyzing every interaction. The moment she genuinely surrendered and decided she was complete alone, enjoying her single life fully, her person appeared within weeks, not because the universe was testing her, but because her energy shifted from needy to abundant. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Surrender doesn't mean you stop caring or stop trying. It means you stop gripping so tightly that you choke the life out of your desires. Think of manifestation like holding a butterfly. Grip it too hard and you crush it. Hold your hand open and relaxed, and it might stay, or it might fly away. But either way, you're okay, because your happiness doesn't depend on the butterfly. When you reach that state of detached desire, where you want something but don't need it, where you're moving toward your goals but at peace with the journey, that's when miracles happen, because you've removed the energetic blockage of attachment. But wait, if we're supposed to surrender and not care about outcomes, how do we maintain motivation to take action and work toward our goals? Where you invest your energy determines what grows in your reality, and most people are unconsciously investing their life force into exactly what they don't want. Every time you complain, you're investing energy into problems. Every time you worry, you're investing energy into fear-based futures. Every time you replay past hurts, you're investing energy into old stories that keep you stuck. Your energy is the most valuable currency you have, and it's finite. You only have so much mental, emotional, and physical energy each day, and wherever you direct it, you're telling the universe, "This is what I want more of." If you spend your energy obsessing over what's wrong, you'll manifest more things that are wrong. If you spend your energy celebrating what's right, you'll manifest more things that are right. The concept here is beautifully explained by Esther Hicks and the teachings of Abraham, who say that you can't think about what you don't want without inviting it into your experience. Your attention is your greatest tool of creation, and whatever you give attention to expands. A UCLA study on attention and perception found that people can only focus on about 7 things at once, which means your selective attention literally creates your experienced reality by choosing what to amplify and what to ignore. Before people become conscious of their energy investment, they hemorrhage energy on drama, complaining, gossiping, consuming negative news, engaging in pointless arguments online, scrolling mindlessly through social media. Then they wonder why they don't have energy for manifestation work, why they feel depleted, why nothing changes. After becoming strategic with energy investment and ruthlessly protecting their mental and emotional space, they have abundant energy for creation. A client came to me exhausted, depressed, stuck. I asked him to track where his energy went for 1 week. He was shocked to discover he spent 3 hours a day consuming political outrage content, 2 hours complaining to co-workers, and another hour rehashing relationship problems with friends. That's 6 hours of energy invested in negativity. We redirected that energy toward his vision, learning new skills, and elevated emotional states. Within a month, his entire life trajectory shifted because his energy investment shifted. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You're either investing your energy or hemorrhaging it. There's no neutral. Every thought, every emotion, every word, every action is either a deposit into your desired reality or a withdrawal. Start treating your energy like money. Would you dump your entire paycheck into a trash can? No. So why dump your mental and emotional energy into toxic people, limiting beliefs, and fear-based narratives? Become ruthlessly protective of your energy and invest it only into thoughts, feelings, and actions that match the reality you're creating. Comment below with one energy leak you're gonna eliminate this week, because awareness is the first step to transformation. Process: how to navigate resistance, redirect your evidence filter, align your actions, collapse timelines, master the surrender paradox, and protect your energy investment. This isn't theory anymore. This is your new operating system for reality creation. Your external reality is a perfect reflection of your internal state, and once you see this, you can never unsee it. Everything showing up in your life right now, your relationships, your bank account, your health, your opportunities, all of it is mirroring back to you exactly who you're being at the deepest level. This might be uncomfortable to hear because it means you're responsible for everything, but it's also the most empowering truth you'll ever discover. Because if you created this reality, you can create a different one. The mirror doesn't lie. If you're attracting chaotic relationships, there's chaos within you. If you're attracting scarcity, there's a scarcity mindset operating. If you're attracting disappointment, you're broadcasting disappointment. Florence Scovel Shinn wrote in The Game of Life that your world is a world of crystallized ideas, crystallized words. Everything you see around you was first a thought, a belief, an identity inside someone's mind, before it became physical. Quantum physics confirms this with the double-slit experiment showing that observation affects reality at the subatomic level, proving consciousness plays a fundamental role in creating what we experience. Research in psychology on projection shows that we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. Our perception is always filtered through our beliefs, wounds, and identity. A study from Northwestern University found that people literally remember the same event differently based on their existing beliefs, meaning two people can experience the same situation and walk away with completely different stories because they're projecting their internal world onto external circumstances. Before understanding the mirror principle, people blame external circumstances for their problems. It's the economy. It's my parents. It's my ex. It's bad luck. It's the universe punishing me. They give away all their power by making external things responsible for their internal state and external outcomes. After recognizing that life is a mirror, they reclaim total power. A man came to me angry that everyone disrespected him. I showed him how he disrespected himself through negative self-talk, poor boundaries, and self-abandoning choices. When he started treating himself with respect, suddenly everyone around him started treating him differently. Not because they changed, but because the mirror reflected his new internal reality. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Stop trying to fix the reflection. If you don't like what you see in a mirror, you don't try to change the image in the glass, you change yourself. Most people spend their entire lives trying to manipulate external circumstances, rearranging the furniture on the Titanic, when the real work is always internal. Change your identity, change your frequency, change your beliefs, and watch how fast your external reality reorganizes itself to match. The mirror has no choice but to reflect what's in front of it, and you are what's in front of the mirror. But wait, if everything is just a mirror of our internal state, what about terrible things that happen to innocent people who didn't attract them? You have invisible anchors keeping you tied to your old identity, and until you identify and release them, you'll keep circling back to the same patterns no matter how much manifestation work you do. These anchors are the hidden attachments to your past self that feel like safety, but are actually chains. The most common anchors are victim stories, the narratives you tell about why you are the way you are. My childhood was traumatic. My ex broke my heart. I've always struggled with money. My family never supported me. These stories become part of your identity, and you unconsciously hold on to them because they explain your current limitations and give you permission to stay small. Another powerful anchor is the people in your life who knew you as your old self. When you start changing, they might consciously or unconsciously pull you back because your transformation threatens their stability and their identity as your friend, parent, or partner who relates to the old you. Carl Jung spoke about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject and suppress, and taught that what you resist persists. When you have unintegrated aspects of your identity that you're ashamed of or in denial about, they become anchors that sabotage your manifestations. Research from addiction psychology shows that people relapse most often when they return to old environments with old people because the environmental cues trigger old identity patterns. A Stanford study on habit formation found that context is more powerful than willpower, which means if you're trying to become a new person while surrounded by the same triggers, people, and environments, you're fighting an uphill battle. Before releasing identity anchors, people experience yo-yo manifestation. They make progress, then snap back. They change for a while, then revert. They start embodying their new identity, then get pulled back into old patterns by familiar situations or people. After identifying and releasing these anchors, they experience sustained transformation. One woman desperately wanted to manifest abundance, but kept anchoring herself to a victim story about her abusive childhood and financial trauma. Every time money came, she'd unconsciously sabotage it because receiving abundance meant letting go of the story that explained her struggle. When she finally released the anchor and rewrote her identity as a survivor who overcame and thrived, rather than a victim still suffering, money started flowing and staying. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Your identity anchors feel like they're protecting you, but they're actually imprisoning you. That victim story feels like it validates your pain, but it also keeps you stuck in pain. Those relationships where people expect you to stay the same feel comfortable, but they're preventing your growth. The familiar environments and habits feel safe, but they're reinforcing your old identity. You have to be willing to cut the anchors and drift into unknown waters, and yes, it's scary, but it's the only way to reach new shores. Look at your life right now and ask yourself, what stories am I holding on to? What relationships are keeping me small? What environments are triggering my old identity? And do I have the courage to release them? But wait, if we have to cut ties with people and places to transform, doesn't that mean we're running away from problems instead of facing them? You are not one fixed identity, your infinite potential collapsing into temporary forms based on your choices. And this is the most liberating truth in all of manifestation. Quantum physics shows that at the subatomic level, particles exist in superposition, meaning they're in all possible states simultaneously until observed. You are the same. Right now, there's a version of you that's wildly successful, another version that's struggling, another that's deeply loved, another that's lonely. All these versions exist as potential, and the one you experience is the one you choose to embody through your focus, beliefs, and actions. You're not discovering who you are, you're deciding who you are in every moment. Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, and that you can assume any state you desire because all states already exist. Dr. Joe Dispenza builds on this with neuroscience, showing that your personality creates your personal reality. And since personality is made of thoughts, actions, and emotions, all of which you can literally change your reality by changing yourself. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every possible timeline exists simultaneously, and your consciousness navigates between them based on your vibrational frequency. Research on identity fluidity shows that people who view their personality as changeable rather than fixed experience more growth, less anxiety, and greater success. A Harvard study found that people who believe their abilities can be developed through effort and learning outperform those with a fixed mindset by significant margins. Before understanding the quantum self, people think they have to discover their true self, as if there's one authentic version buried inside waiting to be found. This keeps them analyzing, searching, questioning, stuck in identity confusion. After realizing they're choosing their identity in every moment, they stop searching and start creating. A young man spent years trying to find himself through therapy, travel, and endless self-reflection. When he understood he wasn't finding himself, but creating himself, everything shifted. He decided who he wanted to be, and started being that person immediately. No more waiting for some grand revelation. Within 6 months, his life completely transformed because he stopped seeking and started embodying. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. You don't have a destiny you're supposed to fulfill. You don't have a predetermined path you're supposed to discover. You have infinite possibilities available in every moment, and the one you manifest is the one you align with energetically and behaviorally. This means you're never stuck. You're never too old, too late, too damaged, too far behind. In any moment, you can choose a different version of yourself and start collapsing that timeline into your reality. The quantum field doesn't judge your past. It responds to your present frequency. Who are you choosing to be right now, in this moment, as you're hearing these words? That choice is creating your next moment, and the next, and the next. But wait, if we're constantly choosing our identity and reality, why do most people feel like they have no choice and life just happens to them? What you expect with absolute certainty is what you get, and your expectations are running 24/7 in the background, shaping every experience. Expectation is different from hope or desire. Hope says, maybe this will happen. Desire says, I want this to happen. Expectation says this will happen, and that certainty creates a magnetic pull that organizes reality around your assumption. When you expect people to treat you well, they do. When you expect opportunities to appear, they do. When you expect things to work out, they do. Not because you're lucky, but because expectation is a self-fulfilling prophecy that biases your perception, influences your behavior, and affects how others respond to you. The Pygmalion effect is one of the most documented phenomena in psychology, showing that when teachers expect students to excel, those students perform significantly better, and when teachers expect students to fail, they perform worse, purely based on the expectation creating subtle behavioral changes that influence the outcome. Dr. Robert Rosenthal's research demonstrated this with rats in a maze, where researchers told handlers that some rats were bred to be smart and others were not, when in reality, the rats were identical. The rats labeled as smart performed better simply because the handlers expected them to and unconsciously treated them differently. A study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people's expectations about social interactions create reality through behavioral confirmation, meaning if you expect someone to like you, you behave in ways that make them like you, and if you expect rejection, you behave in ways that create rejection. Before people become aware of their expectations, they walk through life with unconscious assumptions, creating their reality by default. They expect Mondays to be hard, so Mondays are hard. They expect relationships to be difficult, so relationships are difficult. They expect success to require struggle, so success requires struggle. After consciously choosing their expectations, they experience what seems like magic. A woman expected her business launch to be stressful and complicated, and guess what? It was. I challenged her to expect her next launch to be easy and fun. She was skeptical, but played along. She kept affirming, I expect this to be effortless. I expect everything to flow. I expect amazing results. Her next launch doubled her revenue with half the effort. Not because the market changed, but because her expectation changed how she showed up. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Check your expectations right now. What are you expecting for your finances this month? What are you expecting in your relationships? What are you expecting from your health? Those expectations are actively creating your experience. So if you don't like what you're getting, change what you're expecting. This isn't about forcing positive thinking when you don't believe it. This is about recognizing that you already have expectations running. They're just unconscious and limiting. So you might as well consciously choose empowering ones. Start expecting miracles, expect ease, expect abundance, expect love, and watch how your brain finds evidence to support those expectations and how your behavior naturally aligns to fulfill them. Comment below one new expectation you're setting for yourself right now, because declaring it publicly increases your commitment to it. The only moment that actually exists is right now, and this present moment is your point of power where all manifestation happens. Your past doesn't exist except as a memory you're choosing to replay. Your future doesn't exist except as a projection you're choosing to imagine. The only reality that's actually real is this eternal now, and in this moment, you have complete freedom to choose who you're being, what you're focusing on, and what frequency you're broadcasting. Most people miss their point of power because they're mentally living in the past with regret or in the future with anxiety, completely absent from the only moment where they can actually create change. Eckhart Tolle built an entire teaching around the power of now, explaining that the present moment is all we ever have, and that suffering comes from resistance to what is. When you're fully present, there's no problem, only what is, and in that acceptance, you access the power to transform. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that the present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments. Research in mindfulness shows that present moment awareness reduces stress, increases creativity, improves decision-making, and enhances overall well-being. A study from Harvard found that people spend 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're currently doing, and this mind-wandering typically makes them unhappy. Before people understand the point of power, they waste their creative energy on unchangeable past events and hypothetical future scenarios. They ruminate on what they should have done differently. They worry about what might go wrong tomorrow. They completely miss the present moment where their actual life is happening and where they have the power to choose differently. After anchoring themselves in the present moment, they experience liberation. A client was paralyzed by financial anxiety, constantly worrying about future bills and replaying past money mistakes. I taught her to come back to the present moment and ask, right now, in this moment, do I have what I need? The answer was always yes. In the present moment, she was safe, fed, sheltered. The suffering existed only in her mental time travel. When she stayed present and took aligned action in each moment, her financial situation transformed because she stopped broadcasting the frequency of panic and started broadcasting the frequency of present moment empowerment. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Every time you catch yourself drifting into past regret or future anxiety, you have the opportunity to reclaim your power by coming back to now. Ask yourself, what can I do in this moment? Who can I be in this moment? What choice is available to me right now? The answers to those questions are your point of power. And when you consistently choose from this empowered present state rather than from past conditioning or future fear, you become unstoppable. Your entire life is a series of present moments strung together, and if you master this moment, you master your life. But wait, if the only moment that matters is now, Why bother planning for the future or learning from the past? You can't manifest beyond your sense of worthiness, and this is the invisible ceiling that limits 99% of people, no matter how perfect their manifestation technique. Worthiness isn't about deserving good things because you've been good or worked hard. It's about your fundamental belief that you're valuable simply because you exist. Most people have conditional worthiness. They feel worthy when they achieve something, when someone loves them, when they look good, when they succeed. But the moment they fail or get rejected or fall short, their worthiness crumbles. This conditional self-worth creates a shaky foundation for manifestation because you can never relax into receiving. You're always trying to earn it and prove you deserve it. The research on self-worth shows it's one of the strongest predictors of life outcomes across every domain. People with high self-worth earn more money, have better relationships, experience better health, and handle stress more effectively. A University of Texas study found that self-worth is more predictive of success than self-esteem because self-esteem can be inflated and fake. But self-worth is a deep knowing of your inherent value. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion shows that people who treat themselves with kindness and recognize their common humanity experience less anxiety, less depression, and more life satisfaction than those who are self-critical. Before healing their worthiness wounds, people experience what I call the worthiness gap, where they get close to manifesting something amazing but unconsciously sabotage it because deep down they don't believe they deserve it. They manifest money and immediately spend it. They attract a great partner and push them away. They get an opportunity and talk themselves out of it. It's not bad luck. It's unworthiness creating a self-imposed ceiling. After building a solid worthiness foundation, manifestations stick. A woman manifested her dream salary, but then felt guilty about making more money than her parents ever did. And this guilt unconsciously created problems at work that almost cost her the job. We worked on worthiness, helping her see that her success didn't diminish her parents, and that she was allowed to exceed their financial reality. Once she felt worthy of the abundance, she relaxed into the role and even got promoted. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Worthiness isn't something you achieve, it's something you accept. You don't become worthy through accomplishments, you recognize you've always been worthy. You were worthy the day you were born, before you did anything, proved anything, or earned anything. That worthiness is still there beneath all the conditioning and wounds telling you otherwise. The moment you accept your inherent worthiness, you stop chasing manifestations to prove your value and start allowing manifestations because you know you're valuable. This shift from proving to allowing is the difference between exhausting hustling and effortless flow. You're worthy right now, reading this, exactly as you are. And the universe is ready to give you everything you desire the moment you stop blocking it with unworthiness. But wait, if everyone is inherently worthy, why do manifestation results vary so dramatically between people? Manifestation isn't a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. And the people who get consistent results are the ones who consistently embody their desired identity regardless of external circumstances. You can't do identity work for a week, see no results, and quit. You can't visualize when you feel like it and ignore it when you don't. You can't be your elevated self on good days and revert to your old self on bad days. Transformation requires consistent application of these principles until the new identity becomes your default setting. And most people quit right before the breakthrough because they lack consistency. James Clear's research on habits shows that behavior change follows a pattern where you see very little progress for a long time. And then suddenly, you cross a threshold and everything changes rapidly. He calls it the plateau of latent potential. where your efforts seem wasted until you break through to the other side. A study on neuroplasticity shows that it takes approximately 66 days of consistent practice for a new behavior to become automatic, but most people give up within the first 2 weeks. Research on manifestation patterns shows that successful manifestors don't just practice techniques. They integrate them into their identity and lifestyle, so they're not doing manifestation, they're being manifestation. Before people understand the consistency factor, they approach manifestation like a diet. Intense effort followed by abandonment, then guilt, then another intense effort, creating a yo-yo pattern that generates minimal results. They get motivated by a video like this, practice for a few days, see no immediate results, get discouraged, and quit. After committing to consistency and treating manifestation as a non-negotiable daily practice, like brushing their teeth, they experience compound effects. A man practiced embodying his wealthy identity every single day for 6 months with no dramatic external changes, but he didn't quit. Month 7, he got a job offer that tripled his income. Month 8, he received an unexpected inheritance. Month 9, his side project took off. Everything manifested in a condensed time frame because he'd been consistently holding the frequency for months. And here's the part that's going to change everything for you. Stop looking for immediate results and start trusting the process. Every single time you choose your elevated identity over your old programming, you're building momentum even if you can't see it yet. Every time you feel the frequency of abundance, even when your bank account says otherwise, you're rewiring your neurology. Every time you take aligned action when resistance tells you to quit, you're proving to your subconscious that this is who you are now. The results will come, not because the universe rewards effort, but because consistency in identity creates consistency in reality. Make a commitment right now, not for a week or a month, but for the next 6 months minimum. Commit to embodying your desired identity every single day, regardless of what shows up, and watch what happens. But wait, if consistency is so important, how do we maintain it when life gets hard and motivation disappears? Now you have the complete framework to transform your identity and magnetize everything you've been trying to manifest. You understand that you're not attracting what you want, you're attracting what you are. And the moment you change who you're being, your entire reality reorganizes itself to match. You know the difference between chasing desires from lack and embodying desires from fulfillment. You've learned about identity, frequency, self-concept, subconscious programming, resistance, evidence filters, action alignment, timeline collapse, surrender, energy investment, the mirror principle, identity anchors, quantum self, expectation, present moment power, worthiness, and consistency. This isn't just information, this is transformation if you apply it. Subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon because I'm dropping advanced manifestation content every single week that's going to take you deeper into reality creation than any guru ever will. Comment below which of these principles hit you the hardest and which one you're implementing today, because I read every comment and I want to support your transformation. Like this video if you're ready to stop attracting what you want and start becoming who you need to be to make manifestation inevitable. The universe is waiting for you to claim your power, so stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for signs, stop doubting your worthiness, and start being the person who already has everything you desire. That version of you exists right now, and you're one identity shift away from collapsing into that timeline. Now, go become that person, and I'll see you in the next video where we're diving even deeper into the mechanics of reality creation. Hit subscribe, drop that comment, smash that like button, and I'll see you soon.